Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Due Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day. And were you there? Were you there? Were you there? If you were there yesterday for that conversation, I need you to give me some thumbs up. Let me know if you still up in the room. Because if you were in the room, then you know it was fire yesterday. Yes, and yes. Let me tell you. So, we got to talk about a couple of things yesterday. Well, one of the things we talked about was, some of the beliefs that we have, believed in, and it's caused some harm one way or another. And one of the things they talked about was, like your family can't do no wrong because it's family. And that's a belief that has taken a whole lot of families down, because when people allow other people to be who they are just because you're family, it's not, it ain't cool, as they say. It's definitely not cool. Justifying people's bad behavior, because somebody did it to you. So it's like, I understand, and I got to do it because if somebody put it yesterday, 2 wrongs don't make a right. No. So that's how we got our initial start. And then we started talking about Southwest Airlines and how they are going like straight from 2 free check bags to 0 check bags for free. And ain't nobody trying to feel that. No, because people want their money. People want their money and their money's worth. So it's difficult to tell people you going from that to to nothing. Yeah, they didn't even go down to 1. They went to straight nothing. And then for those of us who kind of enjoy the free choosing of your seat, that ain't happening no more. They are assigning their seats, and Pastor Brenda was like, I'm bougie like that. I need to know where I'm sitting. I don't want to get on there trying to figure out where I'm going to sit. For Pastor Steph, that works, okay? And our other conversation is the one that took the roof off the building. Yes. So, we got to talking about how, there's supposed to be a boycott on Amazon, because of the DEI modification, from when everybody was on, going through COVID and the George Floyd thing, and everybody was like, we got a diverse, blah, 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 blah. And now a lot of these companies have backed out of it. Well, I picked up a story yesterday about a young man who got his come up as a truck delivery company from Amazon. So basically, Amazon has this delivery service partnership where if you have a trucking company, they partnered with you, and they still probably do. They probably haven't closed it down, but it's for ethnicities. It's for the minorities. It's not just for, everybody. And what they do is they sign you on because they need the delivery service. And anybody that knows Amazon knows that, boy, we see all their trucks. And, like Pastor Vinny said yesterday, initially they started through the USPS. They started through the United States Postal Service. And it just got that grand for them that they now have their own drivers. And like I said, yesterday that I know a couple of people who were actually freelancers, working for Amazon. So clearly what was happening was people like this young man who has a trucking company. It was so heavy, they were outsourcing to like everyday people. I guess as long as your driver's license was clean and your background was checkable, was clean and things like that. So I was asking, well, okay, if everyone decides to boycott Amazon, what happens to this type program? Because what all I could remember was this person was helping. You know what I'm saying? When Pastor Brenda brought up, well, hey, are they helping the community pretty much? Are they flipping and making new entrepreneurs? Well, here was a part of the story that I didn't remember up front, but because if you remember, I said I believe that this is what was going on. Well, when he started and joined the company started his company 3 years ago, I did say he went from 20 employees to 120 employees. Well, what I did not remember yesterday, and I remembered after the show, was that he moved his company back to his hometown. I did say it was like in Columbia, Georgia, or something like that. Well, wherever this was his hometown. And what he did was he moved the company back to the hometown to help build the company, because he was like, okay, I'm going to come up. I need to help my people, where I come from. So that proves that, these people are flipping and making new entrepreneurs. So I'm curious. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? Because there are casualties in war. We know that in every boycott, somebody's going to suffer. But what is our overall mentality? What is our overall feeling about there's going to be some people that fall here? We know that the great level of people it's supposed to help this boycott. However, what's going to happen to those people? Well, Pastor KL gonna talk about some house Negro and field Negro, and when I tell you the lid came off the casket, yes, I was like, what? Yeah, that analogy just took me to a different headspace. And boy, that conversation went, yes. And I loved the conversation. Would love to hear any residual thoughts. Might have an opportunity to talk about it this morning with the ladies, because I surely did not get, and none of them that are on today will be on tomorrow. Was on yesterday. So we may get a chance to kind of drop that and ring that bell in the room today. So we shall see. So that's why I said, if you were in the room, just give me some thumbs up, because that conversation was hot. And I don't mean hot as far as angry hot, but what I'm saying is hot as far as just fire. Fire was like popcorn going on up in there. So that's how we spent our Tuesday. I surely enjoyed it. Because it's thought-provoking. It's thought-provoking. It helps us understand that it's not just us out here. It's not just us. So let's see if we can keep that conversation going for a little bit today. We'll see. We may have some time. Okay? Well, Today is Wow Wednesday, and we got our girl Vivian and her socially conscious segment. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to go and get that healthy breakfast. Go and tell somebody that it's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right.
Use a loofah. Numerous studies have shown that loofahs, no matter if it's the natural or the plastic kind, can spread disease-causing bacteria. There's even a recent case where a man was rushed to the ER after getting a horrible staph infection from using a loofah. They're especially dangerous for those in your house that have allergies or conditions like eczema. Everything that's scrubbed off your body gets trapped in the crevices, and bacteria love it because they have an endless supply of dead skin to feed on. And then every time you use it, you're spreading all those germs back on your body. If you love your loofahs and can't get rid of them just yet, here's what you can do. Disinfect them with vinegar and water every day because bacteria count on a loofah can explode in just a few hours. If you don't have time for that, look into germ-resistant alternatives. These ones from Sud Scrub are made of a special silicone that's infused with silver and zinc that work 24/7 to keep germs away. They're third-party lab tested and proven to resist over 99% of bacterial and fungal growth. You can leave these in your shower day after day and they'll still be clean. Much more hygienic than a loofah.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And it is Wow Wednesday, y'all. Yes, we're mid-week. Thanks to God, we're here. We can't give no credit to no one else. We surely didn't wake ourselves up this morning. And while everybody else is trying to figure out how they're getting over hump day, God has given us our answer. All right. So you know how we like to do at this point of the morning. Check in with Pastor Steph and let me know you're in the room. It's quiet out there this morning as I ain't seeing a whole lot of hellos, but it's okay because I got to say good morning to those who are out there. Hey, Katie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hey, Terrence, thank you so much for joining us today. We got our boy Serge up in the room. And yesterday, I don't think, if I can remember correctly, I don't think I said good morning to the ladies that hold it down in the mornings, that keep Pastor Steph up and running. And that is our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. And our girl Anika. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for just ladies keeping it going for us. So it is Wednesday morning, and it's time for our girlfriend Vivian and our socially conscious segment. Good morning, Viv.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm getting a little sick. But we're going to try to
come
fight
on
it
now.
off.
Come on now. We surely
hopping
can.
around.
Yeah, we can't be switching places now. Oh, no. I don't wish illness on my worst enemy. Oh, my goodness. So our prayers that you feel better. And you know what I like to ask you? What you got for us today?
All right, today on Socially Conscious, we are starting with news regarding your gas bill. It is about to get more expensive. They're saying on April 1st, that is right around the corner, National Grid rates will increase by 5.1% in Brooklyn, Staten Island, and parts of Queens, on Long Island, and in the Rockaway Peninsula. The April increase will be 4.4%. A typical New York City customer's monthly bill will see an increase by about $10 per month. On Long Island and Rockaway Peninsula, they will see about a $9 increase. They say this is the second of 3 consecutive National Grid rate increases approved by the New York State Public Service Commission last August. In September, the first phase increased New York City customers' bill by 19.4%, or about $30 per month. And in Long Island, Rockaway Peninsula, bills increased by 22.3%, or about $34 a month. The final increase will come in April of 2026, raising New York City bills by another 11.1% and 9.7% in Long Island. When it is all said and done, monthly bills will have jumped about $62 per month in the city and $61 on Long Island for average customers. So again, April 1st, you will be seeing an increase on your National Grid bills. Next, we have New Jersey lawmakers looking to honor the women of 6888. If you don't know, they were the Women's Army Corps 6888th Postal Directory Battalion, the first and the only battalion of women of color who served overseas in the war. Their mission was to make sure troops received their mail. If you don't know, there is a movie on, I believe it was Netflix, that tells the story. They say Marion Van Orky was one of the 855 women on the battalion of almost 30 other women who is from New Jersey. Well, on Monday, the Assembly Veterans and Military Affairs Committee moved forward with a joint resolution bill to formally recognize the 6888. If it is passed by both chambers and signed by the governor, New Jersey will recognize May 18th every year as 6888 Day. So as we're celebrating our Black History Year, that's some good news. Next, MTA is in the news as they say wooden benches will be a thing of the past. Some New York City subway stations have already seen the change. These wooden benches have been removed and they will be instead replaced with metal leaning bars. The agency said the bars were installed at the West 4th Street subway station, which houses the C and E trains, over the weekend. They're saying this isn't the first time wooden benches have been removed from subway stations. The MTA has introduced leaning bars to some stations in both 2017 and in 2021. According to reports, a lot of riders say that they felt like these leaning bars are actually making stations less accessible for everyone, especially when we look at senior citizens and people with disabilities. The MTA said the bars cost $450 compared to the $4,000 price tag for wooden benches. So it'll be better economically and make room for their plan to replace and upgrade all lighting fixtures system-wide. They're saying fluorescent light fixtures will be swapped out for LED lighting strips. with the project expected to be completed by the middle of 2026. And they're saying the new lighting fixtures will help the 15,000 security cameras running in the subway system catch better images, according to the agency. So the MTA said the new lighting will save $6 million a year for the agency. And then lastly, we have President Trump and his team under fire as reports say the Trump administration ignored a judge's rule regarding deportation and moved forward with deporting roughly 200 immigrants to El Salvador, despite a judge's order demanding the flights be turned around. The judge is asking the Trump administration to explain its decision to follow through with the flights. One spokesperson from the administration says, quote, "We remove terrorists. That should be a celebration," end quote. White House border Caesar Tom Harmon told reporters on Monday the deportations were legal and necessary to stop a U.S. invasion by foreign gang members. "The president did the right thing. I stand by it. We removed and under one day, under 200 dangerous people," says Harmon. They say the deportations put the Trump administration directly at odds with a court order. A federal judge ordered the flights be turned around after rejecting the White House's use of the Alien Enemies Act. The 18th century wartime law allows deportations without a need to go to court first. So Trump and his team is using this old law, trying to make an excuse as to why they should be able to do what they have done, despite a judge's order. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reports the flights continued because the order came down after leaving the U.S. They say Alien Enemies Act, which has not been used since Japanese Americans were detained during World War II, is being misused by the Trump administration. So now we have this whole mess of things going on with the Trump administration and deportating 200 people to El Salvador. Which brings us to our wild story of the week. A mother of 5 has been deported from an area out in Michigan, to Asia, a country where she had never set foot in, and she's calling for help. Her name is Ma Yang. She's 37 years old. She is being held in a rooming house in Laos, Asia, surrounded by military guards. She does not speak the language, knows no one there, and says the military is holding all of her documents. Miss Yang says the United States sent me back here to die. Yang told the outlet, "I don't even know where to go. I don't even know what to do. How do I rent? How do I buy? How do I do anything without my papers?" She says she is also without insulin for her diabetes and is running out of her medication for high blood pressure. Yang was born in Thailand and was a legal permanent U.S. resident until she pleaded guilty to a marijuana-related charge and served more than 2 years in prison. She took the plea deal after her attorney incorrectly stated it would not affect her legal permanent residency, which was later revoked after her sentence. Yang was taken to an immigration and customs enforcement facility in Minnesota. Reports say Yang was removed from the U.S. after President Donald Trump vowed to deport millions and millions and conduct the largest deportation operation in United States history. She says she was released in February, and we know that Trump came into office in January. She says ICE agents asked her to report to their Milwaukee facility. From there, she was detained, sent to Indiana, transferred to Chicago, and finally put on a series of flights to Laos, Asia. And now she's seeking answers and assistance sorting out this whole mess. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. As always, you've come through with your series of stories and reports that give us something to talk about. So as we wait for you to transition, we will eagerly await getting these conversations going. Thank you so much. And
You're
we'll
welcome.
talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Let's check out these comments. Terrence talking about some master table is here. That's Terrence's thumbs up. I asked him to give a thumbs up if he was here yesterday. Well, he didn't give the thumbs up, but he definitely, by him dropping that comment in the room, we know he was here yesterday, because only somebody who would know about yesterday's conversation would know to make that statement. And Terrence says yes, that 6888 movie, it's showing on Netflix, so yes. And actually, it is a movie that is up for review on My 2 Cents. And unfortunately, I was ill last week, so was not able to do the show. And my brother Ainsley and my girl Shantice, we didn't do the show last week. We can't do the show this week because our brother Ainsley is not available. But God spares, we will be up and running as of next week, Thursday. So I did ask yesterday, by the way, if you are a movie buff, make sure you hit me up on Coach for Christian Life on Facebook. DM me directly, let me know. And if you're a movie buff and you don't have Facebook, it's okay. Email is just as good. And that's Coach, the number 4, christianlife@yahoo.com. I've got something for you, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to kind of get a bump into our My 2 Cents awards. Yeah, so we're glad that Terrence did see 6888, because hopefully he'll be on and chatting with us about our movie. Okay, all right. We got to check in from our Pastor KL. What it do, crew? Hey, Pastor KL. Thank you so much for dropping by. And we are going to take a quick Women's History Month segment. Check this out.
Talent of Cheryl White, the nation's first black female horse jockey. Born on October 29, 1953, in Cleveland, Ohio, her father was a horse trainer, and her mother was a racehorse owner. She grew up on an 80-acre farm in Rome, Ohio, where she aspired to be a jockey and began riding thoroughbred horses. White graduated from Grand Valley High School in 1971 and received an academic scholarship to Bowling Green State University. Shortly after graduating from high school, White made history in her first official race on June 15, 1971. She rode her father's horse, Ace Reward, and although she started first, she finished in last place out of 11 riders. Although she fell short in her debut debut, she was not deterred. Cheryl White won her first thoroughbred race on September 2nd, 1971, at Waterford Park in West Virginia, at age 17. In the same month, she became the first black woman to win 2 races on the same day in 2 separate states, winning both at Thistledown in Ohio and then at Waterford in West Virginia later that day. White would move to California in 1974 and immediately started competing in county and state fair horse races. She became the first woman to win the Appaloosa Horse Club's Jockey of the Year award in 1977 and would earn the title in consecutive years from 1983 to 1985. On October 19, 1983, White made history again, winning 5 races in one day at the Fresno.
Oh, come on. Thumbs up for our Ms. White. And, our ladies get it done. We have been pushed over in the corner for so long. We really, nobody would know we had these type of accomplishments. And it wasn't until I started, kind of digging. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we've been involved all this time in all of these areas. So let me say good morning to our ladies. And we're going to start with saying good morning to our lady Tamika. Good morning, Lady Tamika.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. How are you? How you feeling?
I'm still coming along. Thank God that,
Okay.
I always say it's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Thank God. I am so
Amen.
glad to live it.
Amen. Amen. And you look great. You look great. So, I like I said, I did not know that our ladies of color were as involved in all of these areas and walks of life that they are. What about you?
Man, my eyes are open. I feel, I can bring home the bacon. I just love it, love it, love it, love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Amen. 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 Oh, good morning to our Majesty. Excuse me. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good morning, Shantice.
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good, good. So tell me, was this your first time hearing about this woman jockey she really accomplished a whole lot of stuff here in this area.
Yes, you don't hear too much about too often. You don't hear too often about women jockeys. You always hear about the men, racing the horses or just men riding the horses, even though we know there are some females who ride horses, but it's still not as glorified and magnified as the men. So to hear that this Black woman had all of these accomplishments, and just back in the 70s, this wasn't even back in like 1917 or anything. It was in the 70s. It was like, wow, okay, I had no idea that they took that sport again, so serious and actually were able to have those accomplishments under their belt.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. That's right.
Be doing it.
That's right. And doing it big. We're not just doing it. We're doing it big. So, shout out and giving God thanks for all of our women jockeys out there who help men to see that they can get the job done well as they can.
Right.
So we got Ketty. Wow. First woman jockey. Yes. And first woman jockey who really made things happen and made us look good. So I'm excited. So ladies, neither one of you were in the room yesterday when we were talking about this DEI boycott of Amazon And my question of what happens to people such as this Jay Jackson, who is in Georgia, who started 3 years ago with their incentive program for ethnicities and minorities, and started with 20 employees, built his way up to 120 employees, who delivers for Amazon. And we know there are going to be some casualties of war, but what happens to that area? We know that, for the DEI, greater good, this boycott would mean some impact. But by virtue of a domino effect, people such as this individual who actually moved back to his hometown to build up that hometown and make a difference, he's going to possibly fall by the wayside and lose business. And what's your thought on this particular issue, Tamika?
Well, that's a real rough situation. You want to support and you want to help, and it seems like at this point, you're still going to have casualties. Somebody's still going to get hurt. We even think about it this way also. It's not just white people that are employed at Amazon. My best friend is a manager at Amazon. So, it's still going to hurt somebody along the way. And that's the sad part about it. You want to take a stand, but still you're going to have a casualty. You're going to have, somebody's going to get injured or hurt. Somebody's bills, are going to have some issues by the fact of the decision and choices that we make.
All right. What say you of this house Negro, field Negro analogy that was made yesterday?
I was not able to get all of it, but just I never liked the whole topic of that. I never liked to refer to us at all. It is part of our history. And the house Negro and I don't like the whole sentiment at all.
Okay. Shantice.
Yeah.
What say you? What to the first question? How do we handle this, or should we be concerned with the domino effect of this boycott of Amazon and companies such as Amazon that we're talking about boycotting?
I wouldn't really get all bent out of shape about it because, again, it's just one of those things that's mentioned because, they're not doing this. They're not focusing on that. They're not highlighting this group of people, or they're not. And I don't remember why, but I remember there being talk about boycotting Amazon a few years ago.
Mm-hmm, it was. Mm-hmm.
And it was just like more people just started ordering more stuff. And I'm like, what happened to the boycott? It seems like they've gotten more sales ever since this whole talk of boycotting has taken place. And unfortunately, whether it should or shouldn't happen, there are going to be a group of people who are directly affected who have nothing to do with the reason as to why they're being boycotted. Like, as we said, people on this side of the fence are actually doing good things. The indie brand owners and business owners who, that's the thing everyone is flocking to now. Or let me get a page on Amazon and promote and sell my products there, and so on and so forth. So now there that goes, for those who can't get their clothing in a Macy's or a Target or, something like that. Amazon is the next best thing. But now you got people talking about, I'm going to boycott. And me and my friends talk about this all the time. It's like, okay, so I have a clothing brand and my clothes average from anywhere from $20 to $60. You won't support me, but you'll go support someone whose clothing ranges from $200 to $600. So now if you take something away like Amazon, you're now taking away the indie clothing brand owners who are able to push where it can look a little more, top notch, high class. But somebody's gonna get hit who shouldn't get hit, unfortunately.
Okay. What about the comparison, the house and the field?
I understood where Pastor KO was trying to go, but it wasn't fitting for that conversation. And it's like you would be hitting if it was a different type of conversation, or if the scenario, or if the situation, if the exact situation was different. But with this, I mean, we know that there are the workers, the managers, the supervisors, and then whomever else, and then the owners. And you understand, especially after you take the position and work a couple of weeks, which position you have. The people who are under you, you're the manager, you know that you're expected to perform either way, whether they're good or bad. So I didn't really understand why he brought that scenario up for this particular situation. And I was like, this is why you're losing them, because it don't fit here. Like, it fit, but not here. Save that for when you're talking about something where it actually does, fit, and it would make a lot more sense. But because it didn't make sense for that particular scenario, it was like, you're losing them, Pastor. You're losing them. Now you got Pastor Steph yelling so loud you can't hear partial of what she's saying. Her headset is going in and out because she's so busy. I was like, if you don't stop talking so she can stop yelling. Please. Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. Girl Vivian. All right. Good morning again, Viv.
Good morning.
All right. So quickly, let's grab up yesterday's conversation. What's your thought in regards to the residual effect of the ethnicities and minorities that have built companies via Amazon and now will take a hit from a boycott?
I think, like you said, it just goes with the war. I mean, I personally don't think that that's something that we need to take into consideration. If you feel like you're that distraught about the Amazon cutting DEI and you want to boycott, you can't think about the littler people. They just talked about how Target lost $1 billion so far with their boycott. But if we thought about all the people that would affect and the job losses and things like that, then we wouldn't be able to make our stance. So it's unfortunate that they would possibly lose out, but it's not something that I would take into consideration if I felt like that was something I wanted to be involved in. I can't now think about all the possible casualties of war and have that stop me from making my stance.
Okay. What say you of the house and the field?
It was definitely a strong analogy, or very controversial analogy, but I do agree it was hard to connect it to the topic at hand. I get it. I got the analogy, but when you really think about it and the real happenings of why the master would decide to take this person as a house Negro and leave this person in the field, it didn't quite hit for that particular topic.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you, ladies, for my recap. And it's time to get to this socially conscious topic and all these subjects we talking about. So, Lady Tamika, Vivian she mentioned this kind of last week, if I can remember correctly, that our gas bills, National Grid, will take a overall major increase to the tune of about $62 per month by early next year. So within a year of us speaking now, our increase on our gas bill will be about $65. I'm just gonna round it up. Because also based on your usage. And they're going to take a very small increase now, and over another couple of periods, they will do another level of increases. And then voila, we'll have our ultimate increase. And like I said, this kind of got touched on last week. So to turn around and hear, what is happening? Do you need heat? Do you need heat in your house?
Since we're talking about the gas bill, I'm gonna just go ahead and start now and get ready. I'm gonna turn all the power off so that next week you'll see me in the dark. So if you just happen to see some lights and stuff, you might see me smile because it's crazy. Just bills at large are already crazy. Trying to this current home that we live in is an older home. And so it requires more to keep it warm, and ironically, as you were talking, I got a chill. So I put my jacket on, as opposed to turning the heat up. I usually don't turn the heat up until it gets towards a certain temperature. When my shoulders start to get cold, then you may see me turn the heat up. But now at this point, you telling me it's going up at least $10 more. Whew, eggs are high, now gas is high. We're gonna have to start, trying to accommodate different things. I have I keep blankets, in every room in my home. I'm a sweater wearer. I'm a jacket wearer. We're gonna have to come up with some. You can't. You're gonna have to start telling the babies, no, don't you turn the heat up. Get you a sweater. That same hoodie that you're wearing all summer long, put it on now.
Mm-hmm. And how, as Renee would say, yes, and yes. Shantice, this ultimate $65, I'm just gonna say $65. Well, $65 increase that we will receive in about a year's time from now. What are we talking about here?
Well, we talking about being cold because Pastor Steph loves to round up. So you could have said it's going up $2. You're like, see, that's another $100 I gotta spend. You're like, where you get $100 from? They said $2. And I'm not exaggerating. I wish my sisters were on here because I need y'all. I'm starting a GoFundMe. I'm gonna put my Cash App up here. So if you like to sow to the Shanti's ministry, because Pastor Steph, I'm sitting here right now, Lady Tamika, with my little onesie thing. You see how I have it around my waist? Because sometimes you just never know when you gotta be equipped to just throw this on in this house, because there are times we put the heat on and all you hear is Pastor Steph, what? Why? Because it's like, but I'm cold. This because you hot. So we're gonna be in some serious trouble going on around these parts, because now it's really gonna be when we put the heat on, everybody better take a 2-minute shower to preserve while you putting this heat on. Put your towel on the radiator, whatever you gotta do to preserve the heat for yourself, because it is about to get real frugal, and not just for us, but for everyone. Because as Lady Tamika said, especially as homeowners, and there's no shade to anyone who rents, because if you're renting, thank God you're a renter, because there are people who are renting the sidewalk, okay? Where it's a lot. It's a lot that needs to be funded in a home, and you put the heat on, but God forbid there's a crack in the door. Now you just saying, welcome outside to my heat, because the heat is just going on outside. And it's just so many different things you have to prepare for. Where it's the same thing in the summertime with the air conditioning. You know, if you have the AC on, but there's still cracks and stuff in your house, you're just warming up. Cooling down outside. So it's like, why are we charging for the things the Lord has invented? I'm still trying to figure this out. So now you're going up for what? All this money that's being thrown away for all of these silly things that could be put towards if y'all really needed money to compensate for what y'all are charging more for. It's like, come on. Let's be for real. So now in the winter, it's just so convenient that in the wintertime, y'all going up. Mm-hmm. Not in the summer where you're going to be cooking less. You're not going to be using your boilers and all that. No. In the winter time, I was at someone's house recently and they live in a building, and they were like, they keep playing around with my heat. I'm cold. Next thing I knew, the oven was on, and I'm like, oh, this what we do? We put the oven on when it's cold, and it definitely heated that apartment up. Okay, but again, that's gas. So they may not be paying for it directly, but that landlord is. So now what's going to happen? The landlord going to now increase everyone's, each unit stuff $2.5.
Right.
I ain't paying $5 because you already messing with my heat. So now I got to do something. So either I put a plug a heater in, don't know how to plug it in right, and that causes a fire. Now the whole building burned down. Now everybody's sitting outside around the garbage can with the fire. Or I turned the oven on to heat up my apartment. So it's just
Catch 22. Catch 22.
Right. It's
Catch
like
22.
you right. You either way you messed up. So I don't know. I just think it's real convenient. You're gonna raise the gas now.
All right. Vivian, what say you? This is a huge increase within a year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think it's actually better timing to do it now because it's about to be spring and it's about to get warmer. So you won't need to use your heat as much. In a couple of weeks, hopefully, you won't need to use it as much. So save up your pennies from now so that by the time winter comes and that bill go up, maybe you'll have a little bit of change stored to the side to where it wouldn't make a difference. Maybe, hopefully. Let's hope that works out that way. But National Grid is going up. Con Edison is going up. Like everything is going up. So listen, just save up while you can. And conserve as you can.
And don't move. If you move, that's $1.
All right. Anika says, and if Trump keeps antagonizing Canada, they will shut off some supply of light also. Learn that New York gets some light energy from them. Yes, and that's how this whole topic. Yes, we're getting stuff from Canada, and now that these tariffs and this bickering between the powers that be is going on. Yeah, that's why we're taking this hit. Yes. Serge says, funny, just last week they gave Trump kudos for nothing, stating that he brought the energy prices down, even though it was due to Biden's decrease. Yeah. A whole lot of people who are giving thumbs up to Trump is going to be awakened with the reality. Okay, so Shanti says that, Pastor Steph makes them walk around with winter clothes on in the winter time. Yes, you cannot shorts and tank top it around here when it's 20 degrees outside. Dress warmly. I do have my house sweatshirt because listen, you got to do what you got to do. If you're paying mortgage and utilities and water, and you're going to have to be conservative. And, if you have not learned, you will learn. I remember being a girl, and hearing the homeowners talk about this very thing. And now, being a homeowner, you understand, how you have to make it happen. For those of you out there who are supplementing heat with your oven, it is extremely dangerous. They say do not do that. What you need to do is put a pot of water on the stove and put it on to boil. And believe me, it definitely helps. You have natural heat that way. Do not turn that oven on. I don't care nothing about you saying, well, don't we warm food? It's a different thing to warm or run an empty oven opposed to put something in the oven and cooking it. It is carbon monoxide that is being delivered into your home. So please, that they have they really have thrown that out the window for well over 10, 20, 12 years. They have told you to stop doing that. So please, if you have children in your home and you get a little warm and I'm cold and you need to heat up, get some pots. And to save your pot, put some salt in the water, because if you ever notice, if you just boil water, it leaves black stains in your pot. So if you don't want those black stains, just drop some salt in the water and put that water on to boil and watch the temperature change in your home. Okay, please do not kill yourself
or others.
Right. For warming up your house. Yes, please. All right. This 6888 women are being honored in New Jersey because some of the women came from New Jersey and they worked extremely hard. Okay, I have to be honest. I fell asleep during the movie.
She fell asleep before the movie.
I fell asleep. So, but we will review the movie. So I'll have to watch it over again. They made sure, those women made sure that the military personnel got their mail. And, they worked hard. They worked their butts off. I did see some parts of it, but they worked their butts off to make sure, that happened. Shantice, what's your thought on them really taking the time to recognize these ladies?
Absolutely, because you could just look at it like, oh, it was only male. They didn't have nowhere near the resources we have now when it comes to processing and distributing the mail. If anyone who works in the post office, they know the ins and outs. Those of us who only go to the post office to mail and ship, we only know what we see. But we have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, the mail that has to be transported from one state to the next and, distributed and organized. And that's a lot. That takes a lot of organizational skill and discipline and patience to sit and just go through packages and make envelopes every day, all day. So absolutely acknowledge these women who took the time to not only do the job, but be phenomenal at it, where it wasn't just 1 to 5 women. There were a lot of women that were trained, military style to do this so that the men who were out would be able to receive the mail that was needed. And I think too many times things like that get overlooked. Like, oh, it was only this, it was only that. And it's like, okay, so how would you feel being somewhere doing whatever and you knew you were supposed to have mail coming and you didn't get it? So half of us can't order from Amazon and without tracking where the package is. We order it at 5. It says it'll be here tomorrow between 8 and 10. But at 7 o'clock today, we check in and we just order it at 5. Like, come on, let's be for real. So I think that's a really great thing, really good thing that they're doing to pay homage to those women.
All righty. Lady Tamika, what's your thought?
This movie I actually did watch because I'm usually on the I know, but I actually did watch it. And to we have a tendency to always think, okay, well, it's just a job. The fact that you saw every envelope, every letter, every and took the time to fine tune how to get, okay, I see this symbol, these symbols match. So that's this district, and literally breaking it down so that, you could get the product or the piece of mail or whatever it was to the person that it was supposed to be sent to is important. I'm still fighting something that I was trying to get mail wise in this recent day and time. Somebody delivered it to the wrong address, and me trying to get that. You're thinking about the day and age at that time. The other thing that amazed me was they were given garbage to work with. Even the room that they were given to was laden down with rats, and and it was just horrible. And the fact that they said, okay, you know what, this is what we got, let's pull together and make it work, is a beautiful thing. And then the other thing that I love the most is they always say women can't work together. That's the biggest lie ever. They proved it. Also what I loved was, in addition to the movie, now that this goes above and beyond, there is also a documentary which actually shows the women themselves talking about what they did, what happened, how it affected them. We even had people that came from a different area that did not speak English, that had to learn how to speak English and work together with these other women without fighting and feuding. Let's work together and get it done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Viv, you saw the movie, so you have an idea of what was actually done. New Jersey wants to salute them and honor them.
Hopefully it'll spread to the other states and other places, because they deserve it. If you haven't seen the movie, like Lady Tamika said, they didn't only have to contend with the fact that there was mail not being sent out. There was 6 plain hanger filled with mail, and then the conditions that were set up for them, they were only given 6 months. Like they had to not only deal with that, but also deal with the racism and like so much things that they had to deal with in order to do this simple task. And that's why they deserve to be honored. So hopefully it won't only end in New Jersey. Hopefully it'll spread to other places, because they did their thing. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely recommend it. They had to put up with a lot, and people were just trying to have them fail for whatever the reason. Because again, if they failed, how many other people would be affected by this failure? They really wanted these women to fail. They put so many different things in their path to have them fail, but yet they pushed through and they succeeded, and they got all that mail done, and they helped the soldiers and the families out in that time, being the only Black female Army Corps. So they definitely deserve it. And if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, because it was a good movie. Definitely gives insight on something we would have never thought about.
All right.
And
So
shout out to Tyler Perry too, because he was the one who put the movie out there, and now look what's coming of it. So
yes. That recognition, in a movie ended up going a lot farther than anyone really thought that it would. So big ups to Tyler Perry for being the visionary to actually put it out there on screen. We got and discretion. It is record time against the odds and leaders that wanted them to fall or fail, either way. And that's from Anika. Great movie. So when we talk about, we're going to review My 2 Cents, 688, make sure you're there, so we can talk about all of these great things. Good morning, Miss Charlene. Thank you so much for joining us. Glad that you're in the room. Terrence says, before the movies go crazy, leave my queen alone. She's still under the weather.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's right. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you. And Anika says, and the military downplayed the importance of the soldiers having mail and hearing from their family and getting the mail for their morale. Absolutely. These people were stuck out there, and don't you want to hear from your family? That was the only way they could hear from their family. All right. And Tara says they're recognizing these ladies now because are they taking away from us since they've given us something? It's always a give and take type of thing. Always. That would not surprise me at all.
Mhm.
At all, at all. So I will leave it there with what you ladies have spoken about. We've got MTA, who has swapped out their wooden benches, and they're going for what they're calling the leaning bars. Now, they say this is not the first time they've swapped out their wooden benches, and people are saying that it's making the stations less comfortable, pretty much for the disabled and the seniors. They need to sit down. They don't need to lean. And they're also coupling this with the lighting for the cameras. So they're saying, listen, they're saving about $6 million with the lighting. They are saving money clearly from the wooden benches to the leaning bars. Lady Tamika, does it matter? Does it matter?
They always trying to reinvent the wheel. I've had it happen if you've ever taken the Euclid Avenue train station on the A, they removed the benches at one point, and then you had the little stubs, and people were tripping over the stubs because you couldn't remove them but so much. And then they put them back, and then they removed them again, and now they're back. I also remember when they were talking about it was too much, with the old handles. So they went through this other measure. They tried to find space, and then what they ended up doing was removing seats. So you had everybody standing in the walls in the corners. And you do have people that you've got pregnant people, that we're giving seats up for on the train. Don't you think they need to sit down? You've got seniors, you've got people with ailments. And remember, ailments are not always something that you can see up front, so, maybe I don't need to lean. I'm on a crutch and I got a bag. Leaning is not going to help me because I got to bend over to put the bag down. Just having some common courtesy for those who can't, or for those that cannot do. It's always, even something as simple as putting the elevator. You got the elevator all the way over here. All the way over there. You just make it more and more complicated for those who are not as able as everyone else. This leaning, people lean now. They lean up against the wall. They lean up against the cars. Just leave the chairs there. How much is it really hurting? I've seen many people just walk past the chair. If you don't want to sit down, you don't want to. But my thing is, leave it there for those who need it. Let's be fair.
All right. So Lady Tamika says, yes, it matters. Vivian, does it matter? The people need to lean versus people need to sit. What's your vote?
Maybe at like wheelchair accessible places, they could leave it, and other places maybe take it. Because my thought was, you can't sit no way because you have the homeless people who use the benches and take it over and have all their belongings spread out across the bench. So you can't sit no way. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of fixing that issue to where the homeless people are utilizing these benches for their homes. So now they won't have that ability, but then that'll just push them on the train. But I don't know. I think it's a good thing because of that situation with the homeless people taking it over, and just you can't sit anyway. So I some areas I would say remove the benches and put the leaning benches. Maybe in the wheelchair accessible places, leave the benches for some other people. But for the simple fact of how people are utilizing them, I say get rid of it.
All righty. Shatice, what say you?
I say this was one of the dumbest things they put their mind to accomplish. Why do I need a bar designated for leaning? As Lady Tamika said, there are other things in here I can lean on without it being marked leaning wall, leaning tower, leaning. What? That's like you putting another piece of floor down and say, this is the stepping ground. So you come over here to rest your foot. This is the foot resting part. What are you talking about? Leave stuff alone. If the homeless people are taking up the benches, but most of them do, you would think it was their living room couch, then you just knew that unfortunately on that part of the platform, unless you want to tell them to scoot over, you don't have it. There are other benches that are, free. People who want to sit. Don't, as Lady Tamika said. But why is there real thought put into this? And then it made the news. So someone thought it was that important to now put this out there. For what? Not to say, do you see the buffoonery that's happening? It goes back to what Terrence just commented. So yes, so this is how they're distracting us from the leaning benches. They're honoring the 888 women, but meanwhile they're stripping benches. But they didn't gave you a black bar to lean on. For what? So you can get more relaxed and now get pushed onto the tracks even easier. It's just like it's just so like, what are we talking about? What are we really talking about? What is this really benefiting anyone? How is this conducive to anyone's mental health? That you've taken mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, that you've taken these benches away, but you've now implemented these black bars that people can now lean on. So that's a fight. For those who don't ride the subways, they may not know. But I just see that being an easy fight. I was leaning on this part of the bar first, or this bar can only hold 3 leaners, but you came with your book bag, thought you could get up in between us on the end. Now you the 4th leaner. Now, no. Just leave stuff alone.
All righty. Serge says, our resident MTA guy, says the leaning bar is to get rid of the homeless people. And Anika says that these companies are so far away now from what it means to truly provide services. It's all about the bottom line. The benches do matter. So I'm going to say this. When we're thinking about the greater good, we can't think about the smaller things. So if the homeless are sitting there, then get the police who you claim are marching up and down the platform to clear out the homeless so that people can sit down.
Right.
Because I can't see trading up my disabled and my elderly for the homeless. I'm sorry. The greater good and who matters more and what's the bigger, you can't worry about, the homeless issue if my concern is the disabled and the elderly people. Not only that, I think Lady Tamika mentioned pregnant women or just people that, maybe you hurt your leg or, something happened and you really need to sit, whatever it is. First of all, the whole platform is not made of benches. Stop. You got more wall to lean on than you have benches to sit on. What do you got? 1 or 2 benches per long platform? So is that really an issue? I'm sorry. Trying to get rid of the homeless people versus accommodating the mass ridership. Nah, I'm sorry. That can't be my concern. My concern would be, how do I accommodate my riders who need to sit? And that needs to be your focus. So, this here, like I said, utilize your police officers. I wouldn't say put the MTA workers on it, because you don't put them out there for that, because a lot of these people are mentally ill. You're putting them at risk. They didn't sign up for that. But you keep claiming all these police officers are sitting out there parading around. You remember now, they got the ones for the platform, not for the train. Put them to work. Get them to clear off that, and let them go get the MTA worker to clean off the bench when they didn't clear the bench from the homeless person. But I can't see trading up one for the other. Nah, that ain't making no sense to me. I think you need to accommodate your people that are paying. So the homeless people aren't paying to get on the train. So my riders who are paying can't sit because I'm trying to get rid of the. Oh no, I'm sorry. In my opinion, you have completely lost sight of your goal and what's important. And listen, let's make it happen. It's not like you don't have the personnel already. You're not going to have to go hire people for this issue. You've got people for this issue already. So make them work. Make them work. Anika says exactly. All right. We've got a serious last two topics that Vivian brought us here. And we've got Vivian for about another 10 minutes, so we're going to utilize this wisely. So we're going to merge this thing here. So you got first this Trump administration who ignored the judge's ruling and sent these deportees away on these planes, and they had to make the planes come back because they were disrespectful to the order. And they're like, y'all are going with some old, outdated rules. And we're not talking about that now. We're talking about what's going on here now. Now, caught up in all of this melee is a mother of 5 who's 37 years old, who's been deported to a certain part of Asia that she knows nothing about. So again, you're not sending these people in your quest. You're not sending these people back to where they came from. You just sending them back because where did I hear El Salvador? Am I picking up the wrong story?
No.
Yeah, I think I may be picking up the wrong story.
He sent the 200 people to El Salvador.
Okay.
So they didn't turn the planes back. They were successful in deporting almost 200 people to El Salvador.
Okay, thank you. I thought I heard El Salvador somewhere. All right, thanks for that clarification. So now you have this woman in their quest to deport people. She's running, she's out of insulin and she's running out of her high blood pressure medication. And anybody who knows that knows that those are detrimental meds, and they could care less pretty much as long as they get the job done with deporting. Vivian, what is your thought here?
This is giving like how they used to do how they still do the black people, where they're gonna take any little thing as an excuse to deport you. And I always thought that if you get deported, you were sent back where you came from.
Right.
Not that they're just shipping you out of the United States in general, but that they're going to send you back home.
Right.
So this is a complete mess. They're going to use anything. Because why is she being locked up for marijuana if marijuana is legal everywhere? So you're going to use any excuse now to lock people up and ship them off to wherever you want them to go just because you can. So I seriously hope that this judge and every other judge puts their foot down and puts an end to this. Because how are you going back to World War II and using something they used back then to justify what you're doing to these people? This is insane. So because she has some marijuana charge, now you're going to take a mother of 5 and ship her off to some unknown land, take all her documentation, refuse to give it to her, and now what is she supposed to do? And then they talked about the 200 people that were shipped off to El Salvador. Why are they being shipped there? And if you saw the picture and how they were treating these people, it was terrible. It was terrible. So they really need to, hopefully this will be the start of Trump getting up out of office, because this sounds crazy. You went against the judge's order not to move the planes. You did it anyway, shipped these people off to El Salvador to be mistreated. And now you want to claim this World War II act as a justification as to why you ignored the judge's order. You are not above the law, sir. You are not above the law.
Try
so hopefully this will be
that.
the start of him getting up out of there, because he is just taking his authority way too far.
Mm. Wow. I want to see if I can catch you on anything else so we can get everything from you that we can. Let me see. So her children, the people who still have her children, you're
Right.
shipped off into this place. Nobody knows where you are. They can't get in touch with you for your children. And remember years ago, let's talk about this for a quick minute because I'm going to have Shantice after you leave. Remember that a few years ago, that was one of the biggest issues. They were saying that he
Yeah.
was separating the children from their parents.
Mm-hmm. So I
So
guess
it
they're gonna be
seems as
shipping the
though,
children off to Asia as well eventually, because he
I
was
was going to
saying that
say,
yeah,
okay, I was going to ask you about that. Go ahead.
yeah, he'll be shipping the kids off to Asia as well because they have no rights. Even if they were born here, he's trying to take away those rights as well. So they'll be shipped off also. But whoever
Mm,
has her kids now, I wonder how that's going. Well, because they didn't speak about
mm,
a husband, they didn't speak about
mhm,
family, but now she's out there in Asia, someplace she's never been to before, and her kids are just wondering what's going on. So
mm,
thankfully, media is able to pick up on these stories because if it wasn't for that, we would have never heard about anything like this. We would have never heard about this woman's
mhm,
story. We would have never heard about what Trump is doing to these people, regardless of the fact of if they are in gangs or they broke the law. They shouldn't be treated like
mhm,
this. And then you don't even care
mhm,
about the fact that she's a mother of five. She's sick. She needs medication. Like you are really mistreating these people. All for what?
mm,
Just because you can?
mm. Yeah,
This
because
is
you're
built it's
you're
sounding
in
like slavery
authority.
times.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, when they pick you up and take you off into a place where you don't know where you're going,
Yep.
but whatever the reason is, whatever they're picking
Yep.
you up for, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going. I want to ask you really quickly about the ICE agents. What do you feel about these agents who are just doing their job?
No.
Mm,
This goes back to the lawyers that we talk about who take these cases knowing that the person is guilty and do everything in their power to get them off.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, where are your morals? Like this can't just be for a paycheck. This cannot be just for a paycheck. And if anything goes down and something happens to this woman, something happens to these people that they shipped off to El Salvador, you are responsible for that. You will be held responsible for
mm,
that. And hopefully they suffer some type of consequence as well. They got to find some
mm,
real like grimy people to be able to do this job, to treat the people the way
mm,
that they're treating them, shipping them
mm.
off to these unknown places to be treated the way that they are being treated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Vivian, we're going to give you 2 minutes to walk up into that job. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks.
you. Let's get some of these comments. We got a check in from Miss Stacy. Hey, Miss Stacy, how are you? Thank you so much for dropping in and being a part of our chat room this morning. Hey, Athena, our health coach. Good morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. Blessings to the new day and make it a good one. Amen. Amen. Anika says, that's right, Viv. That's right. Majesty. He says they impeached him and he still was president again. We got to stop acting like we don't know this country. White America loves Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely, Majesty. Absolutely. So, Shantice,
Yeah.
let's just start off with talking about the fact that Trump was given an order and he clearly ignored it. Sent 200 people to El Salvador and dropped them off. And now the court order was made to turn around, some of this movement. How does this show the respect for the law. Vivian says, he acts as though he's above the law.
He acts as though he's above it because he can act like he's above it. How is it that you can go against a court order? The judge has put something in place. You may be the president of the United States, but you still have a position and a role to play. You do not dominate everything, everyone. There are still hierarchies. It's still that pyramid of people that's being built. So how is it that and this is why he's not taking the legal system seriously. So you claim he's being indicted for this and charged for that, but yet he's allowed to go against a court order. So once he decided, I'm not going to put on chapstick, I'm going to use this time to ship out these immigrants or these people, and y'all, there were no repercussions for that. I'm afraid of what he's going to do next. Because now you've allowed him to see that I'm untouchable. I can do whatever. Y'all can put whatever in place. But when I'm ready to just look at y'all and spit on whatever you claim I can't do, I'm going to do it anyway. There's going to be a whole lot of things shipping out and shipping in. So when y'all hear that Trump is a new Nino Brown, don't be surprised.
Well, I want to go back a minute. When you allowed this individual who had been found guilty, he's already a felon,
right?
Who was allowed to occupy, not just occupy, but run where none of us would have been able to even get through the door of that process, but allowed him to literally run for president, win the seat, get in the seat. That already shows why you don't have any respect for authority, because y'all have already shown him that he's untouchable. And to answer Vivian's question, you've already shown him that he's above the law because you didn't put your foot down. When you allowed him to be president, you shut it down for him. You let him know that whatever he wants to do, he can do, because there'll be no repercussions. And that's what you were just saying. How do we get here? We get here because of where he was. He was an average, everyday person who was allowed to live above the law and actually win the presidential seat. He is a convicted felon. Here, these people don't even have a right to vote if you are a convicted felon. He not only had the right to vote, but he's actually had the right to take the seat. So you think that he's going to honor and care about some judge who says, don't move that plane, don't put those people on the plane, don't put those people in this country? That would, why would I listen to that?
Right.
Why would I listen to that? Right. Because I never had to listen before. It's almost like that child who you let get away with everything.
Yeah.
And then you wait till they 20 and now you trying to discipline them because they still live in your house.
They ain't paying
you let them, right. You run amok already.
Right.
So they paying you no mind at this point. So I wanted to interject that while you were where you were, because it was a valid question. And it was a valid question from Viv. They act like, is he above the law? I mean, I'm putting it in a question form. But yes, he is above the law and he knows it.
Yep.
So this is one of the reasons why he behaves the way he behaves. So now, because of that, you have this woman, 37 years old, who is a mother of 5, who has now been deported to Asia in the parts that she knows nothing about. And Vivian brought up a very good point, which is where my head went. When, years ago, we knew deportation, just like she termed it, you are going to be returned from the origin in which you came. Nice and simple. Let's talk about that for a minute.
You so twisted that you just placing people wherever. So is there a big wheel you spin with all the different countries on it? You say, okay, the next 5 people are getting sent here. And then you spin the wheel again, and wherever the arrow lands, you're like, okay, the next 5 people are being sent here. Because that makes no sense. So now you're causing trauma, havoc in another country for other people, because now she's a migrant there. She doesn't know anything, know the language, no resources, no nothing. At least if you sent me back to my country, even if I didn't have money, something, it would still be a little different because I'm still on familiar ground. But you send me, I'm from America, and you deport me, and you send me to Haiti. I don't know nothing about no Haiti. I don't have no friends out here, no family, no nothing. I ain't never been here a day in my life. How does that work? And it just goes to show how sloppy he is. That it's just like it's like if you pay attention, God is allowing us to see that there's no real thought behind this. It's just send them. It's almost like when I clean. Listen, if I see you and I deem you garbage, you're garbage. It goes in the garbage. You've been sitting out here too long. Anybody think about you? Don't nobody care about you? It's garbage time. That's exactly how he's treating these migrants, even if they're from here. And it's scary again because he's allowed to do this. And now, because you don't have a family and because you have no family values, now it's nothing for you to strip these children from their parents. And now, not only are you sending their parents away, but you're sending their parents away to another foreign land. So even if, because from the photo that was displayed, thank God, she has older kids. She has older kids, and then I think 2 of them are younger. So even if the older ones were to say, okay, you know what, we're going to put our best foot forward, we're going to take over, help with the little ones, we're going to raise the little ones until we're able to get back to mommy, whatever, God willing, that's their mentality. But it's like, come on, like, what? You just sloppy, and you just doing whatever again because you can.
Well, here was one of the problems. If you remember, a month or so ago, we did a story where the powers that be of countries like El Salvador put the word out. We'll take them. Just if you want to get rid of them, we understand that you're doing some, mass deportation. We'll take them, send them here. We don't care where they come from. Send them here. And because they tapped into the quest that he has, yeah. Oh, El Salvador said he could take this set. Come on, El Salvador bound. This country says, because I believe it was El Salvador, because we ended up doing the story where it said that a subsequent story where they said El Salvador had the worst prison system in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's why when Vivian mentioned El Salvador, it's kind of stuck, because I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, that's why they're taking him. That's why he's sending them there, because El Salvador said, we'll take you. So think about this here. So now you have this woman who goes there, because this is one of the issues we brought up. She goes there. She has, like you said, there's no link to this country. So therefore, they're not America. So you're not going to walk up in their country and automatically get health care and insurance.
Start a business.
Right. All this kind of stuff. And you ain't even got no good papers.
Right.
And she could come here to the United States, and whether she had papers or whatever, she could get insulin. She could get a high blood pressure medication. She can't go there and get that. So now you're in a country where they don't know you, they don't know anything about you, and they don't have all of the things set up in place that America does. So now she's on a death path, because diabetes, insulin, anyone who needs insulin as a diabetic, there is a possibility that she is can't think of there's 2 levels of diabetes, and for some reason not coming to me. Well, one is your body does not produce insulin at all.
Mm-hmm.
And type 2, type 1 and type 2, there we go. So you have type 1 where your body doesn't produce any insulin at all. And then you have type 2 where we do produce the insulin, but most times, because not all the time, but most times because of obesity, we're slowing that production down and our organs are not producing properly.
Right.
And therefore we can get medication to supplement what we're not doing. Yes, thank you so much, Anika. So now you have this woman who needs insulin. And if she needs insulin, there is a great possibility that she is a type 1 diabetic, which means that it would take nothing for her to go into a diabetic coma. This is just a disaster waiting to happen. And for her, a person who has already run out of insulin, a person who is running out of high blood pressure medication, she is in a disastrous cycle. So you're talking about these children who may not have a parent soon. So this is just the heartlessness of what we're facing. So I'll ask you what I asked Vivian about ICE agents and deportation agents and things like that. We have these ICE agents who they're doing their job. And what's your thought on the fact that they're doing their job to this degree?
It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the fact that you're happy you have that level of authority to do it. Whether you get to do it because you've made the decision to do it, or whether you're doing it because now Pastor KL's field slave and house slave and how the master runs over. Now this can come into alignment because you're now the master, the boss. So Trump or whomever, and now telling these agents, go get him. And you're like, sure, okay, go fetch. Sure, okay, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna fetch these migrants and I'm gonna send them there. Hey, go fetch them over there. Or what? They're born here, but we still gonna send them over there. Go fetch them. Okay, sure, I'll go do it. It has nothing to do with money. From my understanding, oh gosh. From my understanding, they don't make that much money. Anyone in law enforcement, unless you're high up, and I don't even think they make that much, but high up, you don't really make any money. So it's like you're almost like the marshals. Do the marshals really make money? I think it depends on where you work, what states you work, so on and so forth. But it has nothing to do with it being for a check, because I'm pretty sure a lot of those ICE, all remain American. So now, how do you feel going to it, even if they don't come from the same country? So let's say you're an ICE agent and you're from El Salvador, but you legally belong here. You're okay to be in America, and you see a migrant from another country. You still don't feel anything, knowing, especially for those who are being torn away from their families, whether it's their children, their parents, their siblings, their spouse, whomever. You don't feel like, dang, I understand your plight, because this could be me. So it's almost like how we talk about grandma. So you laughing at her now because she getting other people. At any second, the joke gonna be on you. So while they're telling you to go fetch the migrants, at any moment he gonna send someone to fetch you, because you are indispensable. You are indispensable. You can be replaced. All you are is a person with 2 arms and 2 legs, 2 hands and 2 feet that are going to get another human being. How many other people will do that for 2 Coronas and a taco? Okay, you are not all that important, bro.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You are not Bass Reeves. If you don't know about Bass Reeves, go to Paramount Plus and watch it. You are not Bass Reeves. You're not the first marshal ever. And they can't get anybody else to do this because you're the only one who has this concept and the ability to do it. So you need to be careful, because at any moment when you are deemed useless, and not just Trump, but people are showing that more and more every day. They rock with you. You can help them. You part of the team until you're the one deemed useless. You're the one deemed trash. Now they're gonna send someone to fetch you, and you're gonna hope that whoever comes to get you is gonna look at you and have that same sympathy that you didn't take the time to have for those mothers and children and whoever. Right. It's like, no, they ain't gonna do no money. They ain't making no money. As a matter of fact, let me look that up real quick. How much do they make? They don't make nothing.
Well, while you look that up, we've got a check-in from Mr. Curtis Morrison. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us and stepping in for a quick second. And we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Anika says, indeed, cruelty is the point. Absolutely. And Pastor KL, amen. Finally, go sit down somewhere. Yes, go sit down over in the corner somewhere.
He's so happy.
All righty. And we have Anika who says modern day slave catchers. And you know, that's again, you know, the point that was pretty much being made yesterday, you know, where, you know, we see it in movies all the time, you know, where, you know, the you know, whoever the powers that be, you know, they go get one of us. And, you know, we're there overseeing with the gun and ratting out everything and everybody. So, yes. Did you check those numbers?
I did. And it says here, according to Google, that according to your experience, the salaries can range from anywhere from 27,000 to about 78,000, which don't sound like a lot of money to me.
It's not. It's not. You could get that sitting up in an office. $27,000.
Yes, 27. They make more McDonald's. ICE agent salary in New York, in NYC, your hourly is about $33 an hour. That's what MTA make. That's what MTA train they probably went up a little bit, but the operators,
motormen,
yeah, that's what they make.
Wow.
And I know that verbatim. Wow. They make about $30-$35 an hour. So for less risk, you can go drive the train.
Right.
Then I have to put on this bulletproof vest to go and get these migrants to take them places they don't even belong. That is just silly.
Wow. Well, thank you for satisfying us and getting those numbers. Oh, sir said no conductors make that. Yo, all you gotta do,
operators may make a little more, because I knew it was like $30-$35 from a few years ago. So now the conductors, the operators may, you know, make a little more, but
So now you risking your life and you acting like you know, Bass Reeves.
Right, like you doing.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you so much, Shantice, for your contribution into today's conversation.
Yeah, well,
and we pray you have a blessed day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our Serge is our resident MTA individual. Thank you so much for clarifying that for us, clearing that up. And let's get that benediction. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing. So that by the power of the Holy Spirit, you may abound in hope. Romans 15:13. You know, we had this conversation a couple of months ago about the deportation. And we are not against making sure you come here and have your papers and get your credentials together so that you can be here legally and you live in the land, on the land, by the land's rules. You know, there was a mass entry into the United States. And we know that Trump, for one, was very, very, very dismayed, very unhappy with this, and made it his business to let everyone know that if given an opportunity, this would be his plan. And we're not against that overall mentality. You know what? You cannot stay here if you do not have your proper credentials. You cannot be here and be a liability, you know, against the country. And it is not fair for those who actually live here, born here, bred here, who have ancestors who have poured into this country. And I know you'll get the argument, you know, everybody's ancestors have poured into America. That's not my point right now. You get what I'm saying overall. But, you know, they now are leaning, it's almost like that leaning bar. They're leaning on the country. And you need to go and you need to do what everyone else has legally done. Whoever is here legally. I used to do human resource administration. And when you are planning to come into this country, there is a process that has to be completed. If someone has to sponsor you, and someone has to vouch for you. Someone has to say, you know what, when they come here, I'm going to help them get on their feet. I'm going to be some level of support. And I've watched people actually go through this process. When you do payroll, you have to, I had to type many letters that said, you know, Mary Jones or Maria Rodriguez, you know, makes this money, and this is her salary, as well as this is her I forgot how we had to say it, how long she's going to be hired here. So I couldn't say she's going to be here for the next 10 years, but I could say that her probability of, you know, remaining hired here is high. You know, so in other words, she ain't losing her job tomorrow. I'm not vouching for her today and then she loses her job tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. We have to also help them understand how long you're going to be able to help these people, because you're going to need to get on your feet. And that's not going to happen today for tomorrow. They also have to show that there's potential employment here in the United States for them. You know, unless there's a real, like your dependents, your children, or some real serious situation that they'll allow people to come here to live off the country. Yes. So, you know, there are things in place. And with this mass entry, and then we heard, we did a story about a month ago about, you know, these people who are allowed to come here, and even without proper documents. You know, I told you, you can, and even Pastor KL came behind me, you know, and said, if you don't have the proper documents, if your license isn't current, I don't care if it was yesterday that it expired, I could not take that. And I'm looking right at you. And had you come here 24 hours earlier, I could have taken it. But now that it is now, you know, January 3rd, and your birthday was yesterday, and that's the year it expired, I'm sorry, I can't do nothing with it. I risked my job. So all of these things are in place to ensure that these people don't come and just live off the land. So now he's on this tangent to correct this. But as the Bible tells us, God does everything in decency and in order. We cannot subscribe to this craziness. The Bible also tells us to, write a plan, put it on paper, make it plain. The Bible also says who plans to build a house without counting up the cost. And this is something that he has not done, because there have been several things that he's implemented. And I just talked about it a couple of weeks ago, where he's had to kind of go back. They did all of this here in the government and then had to call 180 people back. So you can't just outright go buck wild. We get your point. But see, here's the problem. And I really want to make this nice and clear. Here's why we get into trouble with God. We do the right things for the wrong reasons. We do the right things the wrong way. We do the right things with an evil and nasty heart. We do the right thing with an evil and nasty spirit. And those things are going to keep us in trouble with God. Please pay attention to me. God is watching everything you do. So even when you think you sliding underneath that radar and you're trying to make it seem as though, I don't have any heaviness on my heart. I'm really not, angry. I'm really not, I'm doing the right thing. God is clocking everything you do. And here's the thing. Let me remind you. He says, I search the heart. While man is looking at the exterior, I search the heart. He's watching what's going on the inside. So see, you can make the outside look all pretty, but there's no way he doesn't understand your intention. And that's one of the things that's going on here. And let me help you understand something else. You will be exposed. Did I just say that? You will be exposed. And it might come from the most unlikely source. But I promise you, you will be exposed. God does not take kindly to your behavior. And when I say that, I'm primarily talking to, because like I told you a long time ago, God has me really talking to the people that call themselves his, but it's everybody. Just like, in the report, it said that this woman had been charged with a marijuana, charge. And that put her on the radar. Now they're deporting everybody. Don't get me wrong. But that's how she loses her leverage. Because she can't say, where they may have even made a contingency and say, she's a mother of 5 and they're older, they're still minors, and let's petition for her. You didn't put yourself in a hot seat. And let me help you understand something. You don't want to be in a hot seat and then need the petition. Because when you're in a hot seat, you already lose your leverage. And I feel very, very saddened to hear, as a mother, I'm very saddened to hear that she's caught in this web. But this is why we need to make sure you count the cost. See, whatever she was doing, why she had the marijuana, whether it was for use or sale or whatever situations, that's not my issue right now. My issue is, like Vivian said, it's legal now. However, we don't know when she had it. Did she have it before it became legal and it just came up? Because they still have people sitting in jail from years ago that are dealing with things now from years ago that are now legal. So now that's one of their arguments. It's like, yo, throw it out. And they're like, no, we're not throwing it out, because when it was done, it was illegal. So you get caught up in this web. So my word to you today, don't get caught up in the web. Don't get caught up in the web of doing the right things for the wrong reason, doing the right things the wrong way, doing the right things with a bad heart, because you will get caught up out there. Take this as a lesson. While our hearts are feeling saddened for this woman and others like her, put your thinking cap on and you make sure you don't make that same mistake. because you don't want to feel sorry for her today, but then you'll hurt tomorrow. Oh, with that, let me say thanks to Craft Corner for our mugs and our girl Nicole. Make sure you hit her up and you know let her know, hey, I want one of these things. I love the cup, and there's different sizes. Shanti showed it to you. So listen, let her meet your needs. I'm branded today. Jesus saves. Yes. Okay. Let's make sure we hit up. It's personalized, your embroidery manufacturer for your embroidery needs. Okay. So make sure you reach out, because you can get a whole lot put on a shirt, a hoodie, a hat. You know, we have a large variety of options, and I love my t-shirt option. I love being branded on here every day with you. So let me say, you've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on the things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for keeping that chat room alive and helping us do what we do. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Jesus Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. You may not have that opportunity to make it right tomorrow, midnight. We only have right now. Make right now count. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.